Right, so we've got 11 p.m. Our results update for the night. A really interesting and exciting update for us. I just wanted to put some numbers to it. In 2018, 4 years ago, the last comparable primary, midterm primary, we had 324,000 voters total for 2018. Not even with all the election day results or all those mail ballots in, we're already at 328,000 voters. So we have exceeded the 2018 numbers. That's pretty exciting for us, especially in light of Senate Bill 1, especially in light of the climate around voting. People are coming out in Harris County and voting. So for me as an election nerd, that's really exciting. All the polls we've offered, all the public education we've offered, all of the trainings for our judges, it's really paying off tonight. As far as tonight, we're seeing that at drop-off 275 locations. So 275 polls have dropped off their supplies and their election results to our drop-off locations. Those should be coming to us soon. We've got 49 closed down and en route, and those other ones where you had some voters staying until about 8 p.m., those bigger polls, they're still closing down their paperwork. They're still doing their chain of custodies. It's a lot that goes into securely closing down a poll, but they're on their way there. We've got 16 boxes here, and you should have in your inbox right now the 11 p.m. results. So excited, like I said, it's an all-night affair for us here in Harris County, but we're seeing the polls run in, and you'll see from now until about 1 a.m. 1 a.m. is when we're going to see the most election boxes come back to here to the election warehouse.
So how many boxes are still out there?
So we've got 375 locations times 2, 750. So we're looking at 750 total that are closing en route or in line right now at the drop-off location.
There seems to be just some confusion, I guess, in terms of what is causing the alleged delay, according to the state. I guess you want to just clear the water?
Yeah, so I appreciate you saying alleged. Again, we have early vote results up. We have multiple election day results coming up. We've got election day results coming in, so results are coming in. The kind of situation that the Secretary of State, I think, has maybe put out there is a 30-year-old law that says, been on the books for a while, those election boxes have to come back to us, the election clerk, within 24 hours. That means all of those locations out there have to come back to us within 24 hours. Certain parties, right, perceived perhaps that meant that 24-hour rule that we had to count everything in Harris County right now and have it all done within 24 hours. It's never been the case. We're a big county. We know we're going to get all those boxes back within the next 24 hours. And so earlier today, the Republican Party and Democratic Party had a meeting with the Secretary of State. They pulled us in and said, listen, Senate Bill 1 weaponizes all these claims, even these 30-year-old kind of mundane, outdated laws. We're scared to violate that because we as presiding judges, because it's the party, since it's a primary, who get in trouble for this. They're saying, listen, even a law like this, Secretary of State, can you help us out? Are we going to jail? What's happening? Secretary of State said, whoa, calm down. Let's look at options. And they were looking at options of what it means to get special permissions or extension. And we said, listen, whether you get an extension or not, we're here all night getting these ballot boxes back, counting these ballots, and making sure that everything is done securely, because in Harris County, we prioritize accuracy over speed.
Isabel Longoria, did you at all convey to the state in that meeting, at any point, did you say to the state, we're not going to provide the results, the reporting of the results, not the final tabulations, but the 7 p.m. deadline? Did you at all tell the state, we're not going to make the 7 p.m. deadline?
So this is kind of, I think, where people are getting confused, and I appreciate it, Mario. Results, we already know. The provisional ballots, you get 10 days to come in with them. Now the new laws with Senate Bill 1 say you have up to those March 7th to cure your mail ballots. Those final results anywhere across the state don't come in for at least a week and a half. What I did share with the Secretary of State is saying, listen, we're getting all our ballot boxes back tonight. If you all are interpreting this 24-hour law to say you got to have everything counted, even your provisional ballots, even these double pages, even whatever, that's never been the case. So if you're asking me to do something that's never been done in the history of Texas or Harris County within 24 hours, that's where I'm telling you it's not going to happen. What I said too is we'll be up all night. My staff will be working. Right now I've got to figure out how to put my people on shifts so that we can count continuously. And what that means is I don't go to sleep tonight until all those ballot boxes are back in my possession. And that is the 24-hour mark we're hitting.
So you did convey to the state
that All those ballot boxes are coming back tonight, and I don't sleep until they come back
But
tonight.
that you wouldn't be able to finish the count by 7 p.m. You indicated
Sorry.
that.
The count is never finished by 7 p.m. tomorrow because we have the canvass periods, which is 10 days to complete the count. And so I think that's why maybe there's been some misleading information. There's a 10-day canvass period where we finalize all the results, do all this paper stuff. It's the ballot boxes that come back within 24 hours. And as you can see, we're well on track to hit that.
But the results, you can have all the ballot boxes come back, but we're hearing, and put it out in the statements, it's a Class B misdemeanor. You have to have results, the results, not the final tabulations, the results posted by 7 p.m. So where's the disconnect? That's what everyone's trying to identify.
Right. The Secretary of State is saying results, and we are saying ballot boxes. And the results never come in. I think they used a poor choice of words. Never come in before the canvass period. As you all know, it is our duty that within 10 days we need to return the final results to the political parties to certify their elections. And y'all know, election night is unofficial results. It's a snapshot in time of what's coming back before we can do the provisional ballots, the mail ballots, and take care of all these other little details.
But
that's always been the case.
Isabel Longoria, in previous elections, though, we saw those results come back right after the polls closed.
You have never, ever in the history of Harris County or anywhere in Texas seen final results on election night. If you go back and look at every single report, 2018, 2016, 2012, they all say unofficial results, including early vote. And so I think that's the misconception. No one in Texas has their final results on election night.
Still, in previous elections, considering how you're obviously looking at the
Sure.
language here, in previous elections, we still saw so many unofficial results still being produced, and that the AP would utilize to help certify the vote.
So let me ask you, Mario, in your email right now, do you have an 11 p.m. update from the Harris County Office of Elections Administration with election night results?
I haven't checked the email.
It's results, right? You've seen the early vote results come out. You've seen the first election day unofficial results come out. That's why I'm having the disconnect with you. You're asking me where the results are, and they've already been posted on the website. And we've got all these other boxes coming in. As boxes come in, I post the results. So I'm truly asking, I mean, you've got the results in your emails. I mean, like, I feel a little bit crazy right now. We are posting results on the website. Those are the results you are asking me for.
You mentioned SB1. The state is mentioning damaged ballots for this delay. What's the disconnect here with the differencing of language?
I'm the nonpartisan election administrator who has to run this election, and that is a partisan office who fired off a press release before the polls closed.
Wouldn't damaged ballots be nonpartisan if that's an issue?
Again, that's not my word. That's a word the Secretary of State chose. We have 2 pages that we're accepting those 2 pages. We replicate those pages and count those ballot votes like we do anything else.
Any idea how many damaged ballots there are?
Damaged ballots is your word, not mine.
But I mean, still, that is a word, damaged ballots.
If you're asking me damaged ballots, there's no damaged ballots. If you're asking me how many ballots are coming in tonight, we've got about 100 and something thousand voters who voted today. So we'll know at the end of election night how many ballots we have
Were
back.
there any issues with ballots?
Sure. Got paper jams. You got smudges on your ballots. Very typical stuff. So we have those voters put their page in the emergency slot, which only means here at Central Count, you take those ballot papers out, you put them back in the scan.
Any idea how many of those there are at this point, or is it too early to tell?
We'll know when all of that is coming back in tonight.
Are there any other counties using this type of the same type of voting machines that have had similar issues in the past? I think I may have heard Tarrant County back in 2020, but I don't know if you're aware of any.
So this is one of those funny things. Each county is trying to run their election, so I haven't had a chance to call my peers tonight to see what they're doing.
And then just to clarify, any polling places still have people in line at this point, or are they all?
No one should be in line at any polling location. If you're hearing any differently, please let me know. But voters are out of line. They were processed several hours ago. At this point, it's just processing those hundreds of pages of paperwork at the
And
polls.
how long ago were the plans put into place, orchestrated by you, with regards to the new machines for this night?
So we've had new machines for over a year in Harris County. I started and I enacted for really the first time ever in Harris County weekly meetings with the Democratic and Republican parties to negotiate the number of locations, to negotiate the staff, to negotiate the contracts. In fact, we locked down locations and contract details sooner than had been ever done before in primary history. we've been working hand in hand, and I'll be honest, election night gets stressful. You got Democrats and Republicans fighting with each other. Again, they're stealing each other's ballot boxes. They're playing pranks on each other. That's kind of the party politics. But I have been in.
Have there been ballot boxes stolen in Harris County?
No, they're not stolen. They're each other. They're like hiding each other's highlighters or hiding each other's papers at the voting locations.
I mean, that's a big statement. That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I meant to say that they're kind of playing pranks on each other at the polls. There's no ballot boxes stolen. But that's what I'm saying is I meet weekly, Wednesday morning, every Wednesday morning of every week for the last 3 months. I have met with the Republican and Democratic parties. I've updated them on these plans. I even invited them out to here tonight. They said they preferred to be at their parties, which I totally get. But we have been in contact with them all night. I hear that they're slowing down, but I don't get to slow down. So I am up all night until that last ballot box comes in.
When did you realize there was going to be an issue?
What issue?
Where, well, the issue of that there are the expectations out there from both parties that results would be posted 24 hours after the polls closed. And then you made them aware. You said you had a meeting that said, hey, as you indicated, this is not going to happen. So when did you realize that, hey, we might have a problem here that we had to convey to the state?
I have never had a problem with getting my results in on time. The parties in the last 48 hours have really scared themselves with these new SB1 provisions that weaponize and put criminal penalties even on violating the most outdated and mundane laws. They are the ones that requested a meeting with the Secretary of State. So again, this is where it's getting confused. The Secretary of State is saying that we've made allegations, and I'm telling you tonight.
Said earlier,
you sure? Yeah.
You said you did convey to the state, because I asked you specifically.
Sorry, when we met with the state today, they asked me, what's your process? How long are things going to take? What are you doing? Yeah.
And you said you weren't going to be able, according to what you said earlier, unless I'm completely mistaken here, Isabel Longoria, you indicated that that's when we conveyed to the state the message for 7 p.m.
We are getting ballot boxes back, and this is what I told the state. We will get ballot boxes back tonight. The crossing the T's and dotting the I's of all the paperwork with the reconciliation forms and these ballot papers and provisional ballots takes many days, and I advised the Secretary of State on what our process is over the next couple of days with the Central Count Committee, Democrats and Republicans, to get all that paperwork in place so that we can certify this election.
How satisfied are you with tonight's operation? In that people will not have the end result, it appears by your standards, for at least 10 days.
The canvass period for elections in Texas is 10 days. No one in Texas will have those canvass results before 10
right,
days.
But what I'm saying is that before 10 days, in any major place in America, we see the results before 10 days. And
I am posting results right now, Mario. That's where I'm having the disconnect with you. I have been posting results all night, and I will post results all night as we get these ballot boxes. So what about that? The results you get for every single election on election night. I am giving you the same election results you get any election night.
Right. What I'm trying to say that in previous years we've seen it where it's been, is it because it went out the paper this year? Because of the new system?
Sorry.
You're not seeing the results back as quickly as in the years past?
That's not true.
Okay.
If you go timestamp all of the results you've had, that's not true. There is a perception from voters that things come out by 8 p.m. and there's a disconnect. The early vote results and mail ballot results come out by 7:15 p.m. Those election night results trickle in through the night, and if you pull your emails from 2020 or 2018 or even 2021, they come in throughout the night. And that's why we've seen in the past, outlets or other pundits who try and certify the results of an election before those results come in. It's because we elections administrators know that those finalized results aren't coming out for many days.
I know it's early in the night. Is there any way to ballpark what time all the results will be in? And
I think we'll see what we usually see again. So, if you're closing at 7 p.m., if you've had voters in line until 8 or 8:30, you've got another hour of closing out your poll. So you're getting to our drop-off sites at 9 or 10 p.m. Then you're coming 10 p.m. to about 1 a.m. here. We'll see the majority of our boxes delivered between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. tonight.
Gotcha. And one last follow-up on something you mentioned about parties like hiding highlighters and kind of playing pranks on each other. I mean, it seems, kind of, inappropriate behavior for such a big, with a lot at stake, right? Is there anything that your office can do to kind of hold them accountable or punish them, or is it totally in their hands at this point?
We asked the parties to consider a joint primary. So I, as the early voting clerk, can decide what a joint primary. And a joint primary means Democrats and Republicans share a poll. They check in voters together. They use the same equipment. You just decide on the voting machine which ballot you want to use. We did that during early voting, and you can see during early voting, the last 10 days of voting, nothing. No bickering, no fighting, election results coming in every night without issue. And other than people being a little tired at the end of the night, now we get to election day. The parties could not agree to do a joint primary, so they did a split primary. Basically, they draw a line down the middle of the room. You get some machines on the Republican side, you get some machines on the Democrat side, and what it breeds all day is just that fighting and clashing. So my appeal to the parties is to please, in the future, consider a joint primary, so neither you nor the voters have to go through this strife.
So beyond that, it's their show, right? I mean, it's kind of
they contract with me. The parties, this is their show. There's a contract where they recruit the judges, they select the locations, they contract with me to do the training. In fact, all I'm doing tonight is collecting the results for them to post in their election.
And there's nothing you would have done differently.
I mean, if I could do anything differently, it would be to get my guys some more time. They've been cruising at 130 hours on average this week. I've had people go into the hospital, my staff, asthma attacks, exhaustion, almost heart attacks. The only thing I would do different is invest in this team more that is busting their butt tonight to make sure that these results come in on time.
So you've had people go to the hospital for asthma attacks and for almost heart attacks?
Asthma attacks, exhaustion, peeing blood, right? Breaking down daily because we have not slept. And this is not an exaggeration. We've been staying up 36, 48 hours at a time to prepare this equipment. So what I'm saying, the only thing I would do differently is invest in the election workers who are making this thing run smoothly.
There was mention of a court order. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. Because in law it says 24 hours and the parties were disagreeing on what that 24-hour deadline is. Again, we contend it is bring back all these election boxes. There was some question as if it meant all the election results. If you need to change anything in the law, or if you disagree in anything in the election law, the parties would have to go out and get a district judge to release a court order to release the parties from that expectation or that deadline. So that is what they were contemplating as a tool, right, to protect or guard against the civil penalties that might come from violating any part of the Texas election
So
code.
is this disconnect the reason why they went to these Secretary of State?
Yeah, exactly. This disconnect about what they might be sent to jail for, what it means to follow these laws, what they would need a court order to do or not do. They all met this afternoon to contemplate the timeline of getting a court order to then decide if that's something they needed to do by tonight. I think we've all come down from that and said, listen, as we interpret the code, as the Secretary of State's 2017 guidance says, election boxes is what needs to come back in 24 hours. The next couple of days over the canvass period is where we do all this paperwork processing to close out the election.
So the court order has not been filed?
To my knowledge, in this moment, the court order has not been filed by the political parties.
I just have one last question. Obviously, the state is calling this a delay. Is this a delay?
No. It's an average election night in Harris County. It's going to be a long night. We're the biggest county. We're one of the biggest in the nation. You got 750 people to process as quickly as possible. I don't know if you've ever stood in line with 750 people. It just takes time. So for me, this is an average election night in Harris County. I'm very confused as to why this press release ever went out or why this conversation even happened. And I'm just sorry for the voters who are being scared unnecessarily tonight for what is an average election night in Harris County.
Are there elected judges that man each primary station? Are they supposed to be from Harris? And the reason why I ask this is because the West Gray Multi-Service Center, Republican side, I've covered a lot of these now in Harris County. A lot of the Republican sides were brand new here. They didn't really seem to be acquainted with how things were at that particular time.
Yeah. That's kind of an interesting question on how we staff locations. Again, it's up to the political parties to do the recruitment, the initial recruitment of judges and set those locations. For a primary like this, what we heard from a lot of judges is they dropped out saying, I want to go to rodeo, right? I hear a lot of drama. I don't want to be involved in a primary where there might be fighting. And so the parties really had to dig deep and find new people, right, to run these voting locations, to be clerks. And so you might have seen some new faces. But at the end of the day, we've trained them. We had a tech line who was answering their calls all day. To answer your legal question, to be a presiding or alternate judge in a Harris County election or any county in Texas, you have to be a registered voter in that county. Lay it on me. I'm ready. This keeps me up all night, right? If we're not going to have tacos, we might as well do this.